Welcome to the Guided Podcast, where we support you to find the courage to listen and act. I'm Amanda Goolsby, and with me is
Allie Katz.
Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Guided Podcast. Coming to you live, we are now in 2 locations versus 1 location, Allie and I. I'm currently on the island of Kauai, and Allie is back in Boulder, Colorado. So if you hear the sounds of chirping birds, rustling leaves, or maybe even the ocean, that is why. And
lucky girl, it's like winter again all of a sudden here, just for today.
No.
Yeah, it's cold and rainy. I'm wearing my sweater. Summer.
Welcome back to winter. No, don't tell me that. Well, guys, welcome back to the Guided Podcast. This week in episode 16, we are going to be talking about the road to fundraising. Allie is in a big up-level undertaking, stepping into new areas and dimensions in business in something that has been a long time coming after having bootstrapped her business for 17 years-ish, and is now...
2003 was when I launched my first business.
20 years,
20 years
of bootstrapping and never taking on outside investment and fundraising, and now stepping into a big new portal of expansion. So today's episode is going to be all about that road, the journey that Allie's on, and having her share some of her guidance that she's been receiving through this process and the wisdom that she's also receiving along the way. So Allie, do you first maybe just want to give the listeners a little bit of we have talked about it on previous episodes, but just a little bit of an overview about what is happening in your business at this time? What is the precipice that you are at that is now bringing you into fundraising for the first time in your business's history?
So before I say where I am now, I think I do want to go back 20 years and look at where I was then, because I did not have any money when I was starting my business. And I got the very clear guidance from life in a way that I couldn't not listen, that said for me to start my own business. And I was the breadwinner, and my husband was a stay-at-home dad, and I had a brand new baby and a 4-year-old. And I didn't go back to the paycheck after my maternity leave, and we had not saved any money. And so I was super scared. But it was very clear that life was giving me the guidance to go out on my own. And what was amazing is that I had learned at Agape International Spiritual Center through the teachings that I had been guided to receive. And you all heard that in my solo episode at the beginning of this podcast. So if you haven't listened to it, I encourage you to do so. And I'd received this guidance that said that if I leap, the net will appear. But I didn't have any way of knowing that. I didn't have any way of knowing that if I leapt, the net would appear. But I did. I did it anyway, and I was so scared. My very first blog that I ever wrote was the intrepid mompreneur, being afraid and doing it anyway. And yeah, I was like 29 years old. And time after time after time, the net always appeared, even when I let go and walked away from everything and moved to the farm and filed bankruptcy. That was still the net appearing. I leapt, and again, the net appeared, and I was held, and I didn't die, and I'm here. And now, as I've rebuilt everything post-bankruptcy, this is actually the day I filed bankruptcy was August 6th, and that's today. I didn't even think about that until this very moment. 2012. And back in 2012, there was like this whole like prophecy that was happening about like the shift in consciousness and the Mayan calendar. And I was just letting myself fall after having built $2 million businesses at that point. And I've rebuilt since then. And what I've really been rebuilding is my own self-trust. My own self-trust, learning to trust myself so that I could be where I am now and be ready to raise capital. Because the truth is that what I'm here to do and the vision that I have requires significant capital investment beyond just selling in order to fund or borrowing from banks or using credit cards, which is how I've done everything in the past. Credit cards, banks, and learning how to enroll, learning how to know what I need, know what I have to give, and know how to ask for what I need in exchange for what I have to give, which is one of the first principles of how to generate, of how to be resourceful, as you learn how to exchange. But there does become a point, if you want to invest in growing bigger than what you can through the banking system or through selling, you'll need to take on capital. And that's the point that I am now. But I could never take on capital until I had full self-trust, because that's other people's money. And my dad took other people's money and did not give them back equal value or greater value. And so that's part of the karma that I've been working with my whole life, is ensuring that that would never be what I would do. And so building self-trust, I've now gotten to this place where I trust my vision, I trust my leadership, I trust my capacity to manage these resources really well. And so I'm ready to raise money. And here I am. And I don't want to do it in a traditional way, because I've watched friends raise money from, in traditional ways over the past, and it has compromised who they are and what they're here to bring. And I am not willing to do that. There's no situation in which I'm willing to compromise my vision for short-term gains or my values. I don't need to. And that would be a total contradiction to what I'm here to do, because I'm here to use the work that I'm doing and to use the way that I'm structuring my company to lay down a new template. So I need to find a way to raise capital that's in alignment with my values and that's in alignment with regenerative principles rather than extractive principles. I'm not willing to raise money in any way that's extractive. I'm only willing to raise money in a way that is truly regenerative for the ecosystem and that lays down the template of a share the wealth model. So I've been in conversations for the past several weeks, months, really now, 2 to 3 months, with all sorts of different advisors, lawyers, financial people, people who have raised money, founders, to put together the right infrastructure at this moment that takes into account all of the lessons I've learned of how not to do it. And it's tough because there's no like, oh, just do it like this. It doesn't exist yet. So I had decided I was going to form a Delaware Public Benefit Corporation, but then that creates tax issues with double taxation. So then I've been looking into various, LLC possibilities. And what I've come to is kind of blowing my mind. And it's exciting. And I've been guided each step of the way to the people that I need to talk to who have the answers. And I'm feeling so supported by life for leading me just breadcrumb by breadcrumb by breadcrumb to the people who have the ideas and the experience. And what I'm coming to is that I'm starting a fund where I will have limited partners who invest in the fund, and we're all partners. And they get founders' shares and they get a preferred return on their investment. And then that fund isn't just investing in this one company that I'm creating now, it's investing in a portfolio of companies, which has always been what I imagined, that I was going to have many different entities, but it was very confusing because there's so many different entities and so much complexity. But I see now how it all makes sense when they're all held together in one fund. And last week when I was in Costa Rica, I was speaking at an investor meeting for a fund, Lionheart Ventures, and that fund only invests in companies that are here to serve the resilience of humanity. Now, Lionheart invests in many different companies. So they have a portfolio of companies that all do different things. Whereas my fund is all investing in the ecosystem of the portfolio of companies that I am part of. And that's just super blowing me away.
What a journey.
It's a big moment.
What a journey.
I know.
And what a journey that the last 20 years, but in particular, the last 11 years, has really been about this building back of your self-trust and becoming the type of person in which you know yourself to be, that is integrous, that is responsible, that is intelligent enough, that understands the responsibility that is taking on other people's money as investment, and resourceful enough to realize that you aren't going to do it the way that it's always been done. You can't do it the way it's always been done, because you're doing what the visionary of Alley Katz does best, which is doing something that's never been done before and doing it and stepping forward in true leadership to go first and create a new model.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you said that, I realized I want to give a little shout out to Melanie Ann Lair, who I heard at one point say, if I go first, when I go first, life follows. Maybe she says the universe follows or something like that. And hearing her say that has given me courage to keep going first. And so I just want to give that shout out to her for the courage, because there have been times where I've been in the consideration of should I really? I could be so comfortable with my online business, that trains lawyers, and stop there and travel and party more. But I can't. I can't not do this. My life would feel meaningless. I wouldn't feel deserving of the rewards that I would be experiencing. And not because I'm not, I hear this kind of conversation a lot of around deserving and worthiness. Everybody deserves and everybody's worthy. And I don't feel that way for myself. So a lot of people in my life have given me a hard time for feeling as if I need to earn my rewards. Allie, you work so hard already, you've already earned it. And I hold myself to a standard of worthiness and deservedness and earning that feels right to me. And I do believe that I have now shown up in a way that says to me, I have earned what's coming now. And what's coming is massive. And I can say yes to what's coming, and I can keep stepping into what's coming because I have earned it now by who I am being now in each moment. Because of how I've responded historically to the conflicts and the challenges that I have passed through. As I go to take other people's money, to receive other people's money, to create an infinite loop of giving and receiving, I trust myself to use it well, to use it wisely. And I'm structuring a share the wealth model that I hope will be a new template for investing. And it's exciting and it's scary. And I'm doing it through this lens that we're going to talk about in the next episode. And Amanda's having some technical difficulties, so I'm going to close this one out with just leaving you with this, which is that the thing that is guiding me right now, more than it ever has, and I think it always has, but more so now than ever before, is we're all dying. And by acknowledging that, and really looking at it in every single choice we make, we can have amazing lives. And we can create truly, I believe, a world that works for everyone, as much as that's within our control. And that's what I'm stepping into with this fundraise. So lots more on that to come. And in the next episode, we are going to talk about how that's influencing my decision-making now and why I'm going to miss Amanda tons and tons and tons and tons, because I'm not going to our next module for Luminous. I'm staying here, and I'll share why in the next episode and how We're All Dying influences that. Okay, bye for now. We'll see you in the next episode. If you haven't already, please do subscribe, share, like, do all the things. We're getting some great reflections, and the only thing that could make this better is if more people heard it. So share it with someone you love. We'll see you next time.
If you enjoy the Guided podcast, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, and be sure to come back next week. Until then, this is Allie Katz and
Amanda Goolsby.
And remember, life knows.